welcome back to Talk with Becky. Thank you so much for joining me. I believe that you've been watching the past few episodes that I've uploaded so far in season 2. So today we're going to honor some of the women in my life. I think about a few months ago, or if not a month ago, we were celebrating Women's Month. So today I thought of some experiences that have stood out in my life, and I have two particular women and some friends, of course, but two particular women in my life that I share a very vivid experience. And I'll start with my mom. Okay, my mom is probably one of the best women I know. Okay, she's pretty much my hero. Apart from my dad, my mom comes second. So I lived with my mom at some point where both my elder sister and my young sister were not around. So we used to do a lot of things together. Now, the time that I was with mom, I saw her work really hard. We'd go to piece works together, and I would help her maybe carry some relish or an axe. Just seeing her work, and sometimes would carry some things like sugar cane, we call it nzimbe in my language, and that stayed with me. And I think as I grew older, I've always had that memory of my mom working really hard. And later on, when I left the village and came to stay with my brothers, I stayed with one of my brothers for the longest time. And during the time that I went to stay with my brother, there was a shift. Okay, there was a shift because I needed to start school, and then my sister-in-law got me some uniforms and some shoes. But one of the uniforms, the shirt needed to be buttoned up, right? And then she told me, you need to do this, you need to sew this. And I was like, okay, fine, great. Then my sister, and by the way, by that time I was staying with my immediate older sister. And she was like, okay, so when you're done with this, you need to do this. So my sister comes to remind me, you need to do this, you didn't get to do your chore. And I started complaining. I was like, but I was told to do this, I was told to sew my clothes, my uniform, and now you want me to do this, it's not fair. And I started complaining a lot. And my sister-in-law came and was like, what is this? What are you doing? And I was like, well, I did what you told me to sew my uniform, and now my sister is telling me this, and she was not around. She had gone away for the weekend, and now she's here. She wants me to continue to doing the chores. My sister was like, but where I was still doing the same thing. But there's something that my sister-in-law said. She said, well, this is your uniform. Okay, this is your uniform. Who do you expect to do it for you? It's your uniform. You're going to do the chore. You're going to fix your uniform, and you're going to do what you're supposed to do because it's yours. If you're not going to do it, who do you expect is going to do it for you? Now, when she said that, believe me, I cried. I cried for my mom. I was like, no, you can't tell me to do this. I don't want. I've been doing this since morning. I've been working, and I can't do this no more. But now that I've grown up, a few weeks ago, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was telling me, Becky, you're quite resilient. There are times where I wonder where you get the energy, to just be this resilient. And I jokingly said, sometimes I don't want to be resilient. Sometimes I don't want to be, strong-willed and just do things, go get the things that you need to get. Sometimes I don't want to do that. But when I was having that conversation with a friend, it reminded me where this kind of personality came from. Okay, during the time that I stayed with my sister-in-law, there's some things probably I didn't like, okay? And of course with my mom, I remember my mom whooping me, but there's something that stood out about me watching her work, okay? And there's something that stood out about what my sister-in-law told me. She told me, it's your responsibility. It's something that you want to do, okay? It's a part of your education. You can't complain about something that concerns you. All right. Now that I think about it, I was like, okay, yeah, I cried, but it makes sense for me to have a resilient mind and to have this way of wanting to do the things I want to do in my life. I have to be able to look back and say, okay, there are people in my life that actually contributed. And this episode is really about these people. It's about the women. And please, I'm not disregarding the men in my life, but because we're celebrating, Women's Month, I just want to take a moment and just honor the women that have impacted my life. Okay, my mom. Even now, when I'm talking to my mom, it's like I'm talking to one of my friends. Okay, because she there's something that she built since I was young. Even when I'm crashing on a guy, there's a guy that is talking to me. My mom is the first one. Believe me, of all my relatives, even my immediate older sister, we are close with my immediate older sister. But when I am dating, my mom is the first one to know. It's weird. But for me, I've always known that I can go to my mom and tell her anything, including boys, because of something that she built, something that we bonded over, knowing that I can talk to her whenever, however, okay? Now, with my sister-in-law, I remember there are times that we just didn't see eye to eye. But I can tell you, I've stayed with people, but I've never stayed with someone, apart from my mom, but for her, it was like every day in the morning. Sometimes I would not even see her when she wakes up. She was always going for work. But what she did and what she said, for me, also stood out for me. And even now, as I am away from all of them, I've been staying alone for a long time. I realized that for this friend of mine to particularly take note of the fact that I'm resilient and strong-willed, I was like, there are people in my life that have been strong. Okay, there are people in my life that are resilient. And because of that, I am where I am today. Now, since I'm away from these people, they are now friends, people that I actually consider family now. These are people that I've seen them work really hard. I have women in my life that I treasure. I have women that are now sisters. They've really pushed me. They've counseled me. They've prayed with me. They've rebuked me. You know, they're not scared to tell me things the way they are. And I'm like, wow, I am actually honored. I am one of the people that you'd easily hurt if you knew me some years back. You'd be like, yeah, no, she's not my cup of tea. And I wasn't a cup of tea, okay? I wasn't. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But there were people in my life that shaped me to be where I am. And these are the women that I wanna honor. I wanna honor my mom and my dad. My mom and my sister-in-law and my sister, and now my friends. People that are now journeying with me. And it's really something that made me think about the fact that now that I'm older, I'm actually building what you call a background. You know, someone said when you're above 30, you are now the background of the family. And I realized that, I'm actually trying to build something here, and I'm trying to do this for my nieces and nephews as well. Being able to work for the things I want and being able to be resilient. Recently, I was having this conversation with my nieces when they came over, and I was telling them, like, girls, congratulations for passing grade 10, but you need to work really hard. Don't expect anyone to do this thing for you. Don't expect to get things from the boys, okay? Because if you do that, obviously they want something. So work really hard. Have a mindset that, okay, if I don't do it for myself, no one will do it for me, okay? And when you do that, you find out that when you work really hard, you kind of feel nice when you get the result. You actually do feel nice. So while I am here, really building something for myself, I realize that I'm also building something for my nieces and nephews, people who are looking up to me. So while I'm talking to you about this experience that I've had and honoring the women in my life, I'm also asking you this question. What are you doing about your background? You can't always say, I'm coming from a very toxic background. My family, they don't know how to have a good conversation. No, we are poor. This is how we are. We just say things, even though sometimes we don't mean it. That's how we are. But you're above 25. You're above 30. For how long are you going to ride on that? It's about time for you to actually say, okay, I'm old enough now. I actually need to create a background for those that are coming after me. Okay, they need to say, I had an aunt, I had a sister, I had a brother, I had an uncle. Okay, they actually built this for me. Okay, they made sure that the foundation is actually good. And as I am realizing this, it actually makes me want to work really hard. Not only just financially, but also on myself. Being able to have a better way of communicating things to people, especially my nieces and nephews. So I thought of sharing this experience with you guys and just challenge you that you are now the background of your family, and please make sure that you lay a good foundation. And for the people that have contributed to the person that I am today, I'm really grateful. I know probably my mom might not watch this, but I have a feeling my sister-in-law will. I want to say thank you for just being tough, but also just being able to make me or mold me in a way where I can actually go and get the things I want. Look at me now. I have a talk show. All right. I am so grateful to all of you. And on that note, guys, I think that's the end of the episode. I want to thank you so very much for, just growing with me, continuing just to support me with your views, your comments, and your suggestions. Let's continue to grow together. And until next time, this has been Talk with Becky. Bye!